Well, before we start today's video, we got to talk about the plan for the Tacoma. I've had a ton of questions. Am I selling it? Am I getting rid of it? Am I keeping it? Well, actually, one of you guys is going to take this thing home. That's right, I'm doing a giveaway. If you guys want a chance to grab the keys to this truck, head over to avrcustoms.com. Every $5 spent on the website gets you an entry in to win this truck. And I got a bunch of new merch on the site you guys might like. A bunch of t-shirts, sweaters, air fresheners, jet tags, a bunch of stuff. Like I said, every $5 spent gets you an entry to take this thing home. Well, I thought we were done with the Toyota Tacoma back here. Turns out it still needs a little bit of love. So I was driving the other day and I realized the cruise control doesn't work. And then around the same time, I noticed the horn didn't work. So I figured it was probably the clock spring. So I tore the original clock spring out and I checked the continuity. We have no continuity through that clock spring. So we got a new one here. So we got to swap that clock spring out. That should fix our horn and our cruise control. Also, the airbag light isn't on, which I'm almost thinking that they pulled the bulb out in the cluster because it should be on with that clock spring out, because obviously you're not getting any power into the airbag on the steering wheel. So I'm gonna pull the cluster out and see if there's even a bulb in the airbag spot, but either way we got to do that. And then there's a couple other bulbs inside that don't seem to be working. This whole HVAC, there's no light in the shifter here, and then pretty common, this clock doesn't work. So we got to replace a few bulbs in here, and then the headlights absolutely suck. So I bought, I could do some expensive retrofits or something, but I'm gonna try these first. These are a bright white Phillips bulb. I think the main problem, obviously I know the main problem is, you can see this headlight is literally pointed right at the ground, but it's a super yellow light, which I don't like. So I'm gonna swap the bulbs out. We gotta adjust these headlights up, and you can just see, you can see on this side better the gap there. There's a huge gap. These headlights are literally pointed at the ground. So we got to do that. And then we got to clean the throttle body. We got some gaskets here from Toyota OEM gaskets for the idle air control valve and the throttle body. So the reason I want to clean the throttle body is it's got this weird like whistle at idle, and it's not like consistent. It's kind of comes and goes, but it's a weird whistle. And I did some research. Somebody said they cleaned the throttle body and that fixed it. I've checked over all the vacuum lines. I don't see any vacuum leaks at all. And then another thing, when I'm just barely on the throttle, it kind of almost like pulsates. It's kind of hard to explain, but when you're just barely on the throttle, like accelerating extremely slow, it almost pulsates. So I think that's something to do with throttle body. I'm going to take the entire throttle body off, pull the idle air control valve off. We got all the gaskets for it. So I'm going to clean that thing up real good. And I'm hoping that'll fix a couple of our issues, that whistle and that weird little surge it's got. So let's get to work. Well, I decided I want to throw a set of hood struts on the truck before we get started. So first gen Tacomas, got you guys covered with the AVR Customs hood struts. Let's get these installed and I'll show you how they work. Look at that, guys, hood struts are on, looking good, out of the way. You don't got this stupid prop rod right in your way where you're trying to work. We got more room, the hood lifts higher up, then that lets more light in, and it keeps the hood out of your face. So that's definitely a must-have. You know what goes great with a set of hood struts? Some light. Exactly. That's what we need, some light in the engine bay. So I sell these kits as well. Engine bay light kits, this little LED strip that we can throw right up on the top of the hood. I usually find a nice flat spot like right here, and that'll shine light down the entire engine bay. It's super nice to have, especially when it's dark out. So we're gonna get this installed and we'll check this one as well. Well, we got the light installed, we got the wiring run down, we got the battery hooked up here, we have the ground hooked up to this little plunger switch. This is an automatic switch so that when you close the hood, the light turns off, when you open it, it turns on, and then I have this manual on-off switch as well, so you can manually turn the light off if you were to have your hood open for a long time. You don't want to drain your battery, so we got that. Let's turn it on You can see it's not even very dark in the shop right now, but it brightens it up. Even in the shop, it brightens it up quite a bit. And then, like I said, once you close your hood, it turns the light off, open your hood back up, it turns the light back on. So super nice to have if you were to break down. Not that Toyotas ever break down, but in the middle of the night, say you want to show your buddies your engine bay, I got you covered with some light. Well, hood struts and lights are definitely nice to have, guys. If you want to check these out, you can head over to my website, avrcustoms.com. I got a ton of different hood struts for Tacomas, 4Runners, FJ40 Land Cruisers, a bunch of different trucks. So if you guys are curious how to test these, it's super simple actually. When you unplug the airbag, there's actually a contact in there that contacts both of those wires together. So the easiest way to check it is just continuity through both of these wires here. And if you want to double check, you can just hit some of these wires for the cruise control right there, those 4 wires in there, and then you just want to check continuity from there to those pins on the back. So we'll double check this one and then we'll check this new one here and see how they compare. So you can see when we have continuity, we'll get a beep through the cable here on the multimeter. So basically, like I said, if you check either both of these wires here, we have no continuity. We can come in through cruise control wires, just make it easy with a wire here clipped on, and then you can check all 4 pins back here. You can see no continuity at all. So something inside of this is definitely broken. That's the old one. This is the new one. We'll check continuity through the airbag. You can see we got a beep there. And then we'll do the same thing with the cruise control right here. Coming in through the back on here. And we got continuity there. So we know this one's good. So really the only function of a clock spring is to let power or let your wiring come through the steering wheel. Obviously when you turn, if you just had wiring coming through there, it would just break the wires. So that's the function of a clock spring. It's basically just an extension cord that can spin. So I want to take this one apart. Like I said, let's rip this apart and see what's inside of it. Well, there's our problem. This is the wire, or like the cable that has the wire inside of it. That's all wound up in here, and you can see it's all bunched up right here. It is ripped off of that side, and it's completely shredded on this other side. I'm not sure where it connects. Oh, it looks like actually both contacts come off of that post there on either side, but it's completely ripped off. So this thing is definitely no good. All right, here's the real test. We should have a horn, and then before, when I would set the cruise, there's a cruise light over here on the dash. You turn it on, you should get a cruise light. It never came on before. So first things first, let's go easy. Check the horn. Heck yeah, we got a horn. Now, let's get some power on. Let's hit the on light for the cruise control right there. Look at that, we got cruise. Now I'm still kind of wondering about the airbag light because it was never on. So since we're taking all this apart anyway, we got to pull this clock out, the HVAC. I'm just going to pull the bezel and pull that cluster out and check to see if there's even a bulb. I don't know, maybe they screwed this up, the previous owner. Maybe they screwed up the clock spring and then just got sick of trying to fix it. And it's possible they just pulled the bulb out in the cluster. All right, here's the clock, and what happens is over time the solder can crack, and it's so small you can't really see it, but these blocks, I don't even know what they are, but they say 330, the bigger ones here. What we're gonna do is just on both sides of those, we're just gonna take soldering iron, nice and warm, and we're just gonna kind of remelt that solder. And if that doesn't work, we might have to add just a little bit of solder, but we just want to remelt those joints to kind of reform that solder to seal up any cracks that are in there. And then we'll try that out. That usually will fix it. If not, I mean, it could be solder somewhere else on the board, but that's usually where these things crack. So let's heat those up and we'll put it back together and we'll see if it'll work. All right, we're all back together, and this thing did not even fire up at all. Let's see with ignition. Look at that. We got a clock. That was so easy. That took like 3 minutes to fix. Heck yeah. Well, here's the airbag bulb. I'm not sure. It looks like someone tried to paint it red. Not really sure what's going on there. I'm gonna throw a new bulb in there and we should be good. I'm not sure what's going on with that one. We're all back together on the interior. We got all of our bulbs working, clock working, cruise control, everything inside should be 100%. Now let's move on to headlights, throttle body, and also I did get a new windshield in. This is looking so good. It's so nice having a new windshield. Definitely underrated having a brand new windshield in, nice and clean, but I did save some of the glass coat for the windshield, so we got to clean that thing up. There's a couple bugs on it, but we got to clean it up, ceramic coat it with that, and then like I said, new headlights and throttle body. Oh yeah, that is much better. New bulb on the right, driver's side, that's the factory. You can see how yellow that is. It doesn't really show up on camera as good as it does in person, but that is like super, super yellow. That's nice and white. If you guys aren't familiar with the glass coat from Cerakote, this is a ceramic coating for your windshields, and you can also do all the glass on your truck. I've done all the glass except the windshield because when I did it, my windshield was cracked and I got a new one now, so we're gonna coat it. Now this is a ceramic coating, like I said. The benefits of this is it sheds water really, really well. And another benefit is bugs don't stick to the ceramic coating very well. So it stays a lot cleaner and it's much easier to clean when you get bug splatter on it. So we're gonna coat the windshield right now. So one thing to keep in mind is you gotta let this coating cure. They say you don't wanna drive it for 2 hours and then you don't wanna get it wet for at least 24 hours. So you gotta let this stuff cure so it actually works like it should. So let's coat this glass. Let's do a little before and after actually. Let's dump some water on it right now and then we'll coat it. Once it's coated and cured, we'll dump some more water on it and see how it works. All right, let's toss some water on it. And you can see it leaves like a film of water. I don't know if you can see that. It might be hard to see in the video, but there's wherever there was water, I can see a film of water. Once that's ceramic coated, all this water beads up and it runs right off. we got the glass coated. What you kind of want to do is go one direction and then make sure you go the other direction as well to make sure it is completely covered. And then once it starts beading up, it's almost there. I just kind of put it on. Instead, it takes a couple minutes to kind of bead all the way up. And once it's beaded up, we'll just grab the microfiber they give you right here and we'll wipe it off. We'll be good to go. Now, one thing you should do when you clean the throttle body is disconnect the battery. That'll kind of reset the ECU and kind of reset all the parameters, because the idle air control valve and everything being clean does change stuff. So one thing you might notice is a little funny idle. This one seems to be idling fine, but I think once it warms up, it'll probably idle low, and that is normal until the ECU kind of relearns, and then it'll start idling normal again. So don't be alarmed if it starts idling really low when it's hot. Either way, let's bring it out, go for a drive, and see how it's running now and see if that noise is gone. I don't hear it yet, but I didn't really hear it until it was warmed up. Alright, seems to be running pretty good. Let's try our cruise. So we turn it on, our cruise light comes on, and then we just hit set. Foot's off the throttle. It's working. We're keeping speed, heck yeah. Perfect, and then we can, let's see, I think we push it up to gain speed. That's working. Now we turn it off. Sweet. We got cruise. We're gonna wash the truck, so let's try out the paint sealant, and we get to try out the glass protectant as well. You can see that water just beat up and run right off the paint. Now I'm excited to try the glass coat. I've never tried the glass coat before. Look at that. Water beads right off. Last time it just left a sheet of water. Now it all beads and runs right off. Well guys, we're officially done with the truck. All the little issues fixed. We got cruise, we got a horn, airbags are now working. I'm stoked. This thing's turned out so good, and I am loving all the coatings we put on for the paint, the glass. The glass is so easy to clean. There was a bunch of bugs stuck on the windshield, and literally one wipe with the wash mitt, they came right off. It's super nice having all these coatings. If you guys want to check any of these out, I'll have all these coatings we put on the truck previously. I'll have everything linked down in the description box if you guys want to check it out. Well anyways, I'm out of here guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Why don't you go smash that thumbs up button, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you in the next one.